Hello everyone, with Ghostbusters Frozen Empire releasing over the weekend worldwide, it's time to rank the movies tier ranking style, so let's dive right into it here. So if you are new to the channel, do consider hitting that subscribe button. We've done a whole bunch of tier ranking videos before. Just a couple of weeks ago, I done the tier ranking for all the Kung Fu Panda movies. Next week, we're going to be doing a tier ranking for all the Monsterverse movies. So if you like that kind of stuff along with movie reviews, this could be the channel for you. So hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, hit that notification bell, all that YouTube stuff. With this tier ranking, it's going to be including the 4 movies of the Ghostbusters. I'm not including the 2016 one because it's not canon to the franchise or anything like that here. So let's start off with showing you the screen. So as you can see from the screen here, so we've got 4 categories, we've got 4 movies. Should be a quick, simple tier ranking video here. So we've got it where it's going to be the weakest of the franchise, good but flawed, amazing entry to the franchise, and then of course the best of the franchise. Now before I get started with mine, I want to know yours. Where would you rank the movies? How would you rank them? Please let me know in the comment section down below, and if you agree with my list, if you disagree, let me know all down below, because we're going to kick things off. We're going to go backwards. So we're going to start off with the latest movie, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Now timestamps are going to be in the description down below for each movie, so if there's one movie in particular you want to know my thoughts or you want to know where they're going to go in the tier ranking, the timestamps will be in the description down below. So with Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, I just did my review for it. You can check that out around here. I enjoyed this movie, but I found it to be more of a mixed bag. I had a lot of negatives over the positives. Now in terms of the positives, with the movie going back to like the New York settings, I really enjoyed. You got a lot of technology that's being shown off when it comes to like doing the ghost busting type of scenarios, like for example the drone ghost trap, the RC ghost trap, even the lab. You've got different varieties of things that's going on as they're being Ghostbusters. But my thing is that this movie really took time getting into the story point, and with the villain, I would have preferred the villain being introduced a lot earlier in the movie, because it just felt like the villain was introduced and then it was quickly, everything was solved and resolved. And also another issue with the movie is the bloated cast. Like you've got the original cast where some of them didn't really have a prominent role in it, and then you've got the Afterlife cast that's part of the movie, but then you've got people like Podcast and Finn Wolfhard who are just sort of in the background, don't really get like any story going on. And then you've got the new characters where some of the storyline just didn't make a lot of sense with them, so it just felt like a lot of like subplots going on, a lot of character developments that just didn't really go anywhere. So while it is like a good enjoyable time, a lot of references, a lot of cameos, a lot of Easter eggs, especially if you're a diehard Ghostbuster fan, this for me, I felt like there are more flaws than there are positives to look at. But I want to state it right now, like there's no terrible Ghostbusters movie except the one from 2016, but less said about that the better. With this one, it's definitely an enjoyable time, but you do notice a lot of flaws with the movie. So when it comes to Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, with this one, I would have to put it as the weakest of the franchise. Like I said, it's still an enjoyable movie, but it's definitely flawed, with a lot of issues in terms of the pacing, in terms of certain character developments, and of course like the third act in terms of the logical situation with it. I mentioned it in the spoiler section of my review, so I won't dive too much into it right now, but I still have a good time with it. So yeah, Frozen Empire is the weakest of the franchise. And then coming in next, the movie that kind of kicked the franchise back into life, with Ghostbusters Afterlife. With this one coming out 2021, 31 years if my maths is correct after the second movie, and this one really just brought things back to basic. There's a lot of emotional weight to it because of the situation with Egon, the character who in real life passed away unfortunately, but they do such a beautiful job with it, with the ghost of Egon being part of the movie. And again, I don't know how they were able to like generate it, whether it was like through AI or how it was, but it was just done so beautiful, especially that third act with the Ghostbusters returning, with Egon joining them as the ghost, and just the way they said goodbye. An amazing sequence there. In terms of like the new characters too, I really enjoyed the performances of the new characters, especially Phoebe. Fantastic role in it. I enjoyed her performance in this one over the one in Frozen Empire, because I wasn't a fan of the story arc that was going on with Phoebe in Frozen Empire, but with this one, just a fantastic performance. You do get similar beats to the original movie, of course, with Gozer coming back as well, a great villain, but overall the movie worked for me. I had a great time with it. You do get a lot of nostalgia in there, especially with like things that are happening from the first movie. Like if you enjoyed the first movie, you'll have a real fun time with this one, because you've got like the return of Janine, you've got lines that are being thrown in there like "Are you a god?" from Goza being delivered to Ray. So there's just a lot of fun to be had, but the new cast do carry this movie as well, so there's great balance between the old cast and the new cast, the nostalgia versus the new portion, which you have a great time with it. So for me, I would have to say, when it comes to Ghostbusters Afterlife, this one would have to go as amazing entry to the franchise. I really did enjoy this movie. I had a great time with it, and I just loved the aspect of the third act. Again, such an emotional weight to it. But if you're a fan of the franchise, you'll have your eyes bawling with tears because of what happened with it. For me, so far, the second best movie of the franchise. But when it comes to the next movie, you've got the sequel, the Ghostbusters 2. Now with this one, I do enjoy it for the most part, but I just felt like certain character development and certain character choices, characteristics that they go for, didn't really make a lot of sense compared to like what they did with the first movie. Bill Murray's character just felt like it was put more of like a on the back burner, having to go after Sigourney Weaver and trying to bring their relationship back. Meanwhile, you've got Egon, Ray and Winston all going after the slime, and like I really enjoyed that aspect with the slime situation. But the villain of the movie, Vigo, I just felt like with him spending most of the time in the painting, didn't really feel like one of the stronger villains. I feel like in terms of all four movies, he's probably the weakest in terms of the whole villain. The third act too, I just felt like was really strange. When you have the Statue of Liberty walking them towards the museum and everybody just starting to sing, I thought that was very strange, but it worked in terms of the Ghostbusters movie. The New York setting, it once again just fantastic in terms of the cinematography, in terms of how everything is being displayed, and in terms of everything that happened since the first movie with the Ghostbusters not busting ghosts, with things going the way it went. You do get a lot of great story development and character development with the Ghostbusters 2. But all in all, I feel like the movie is definitely weaker in terms of the original one, not the strongest of the follow-ups, and I know it's not critically loved by a lot of people, but it's definitely not a bad movie. It's definitely one that you can enjoy and have a good time with, but it's definitely one that is flawed. So when it comes to Ghostbusters 2, this one I'm going to put it as the good but flawed category, because like I said, you do get a lot of enjoyment out of it. It's definitely got that same feeling with the first one, but does take a weird route in terms of like certain characters and how they go about in terms of like trying to defeat the villain here. And then the final entry into this with the original movie, the one that kicked off the whole thing, is you've got the very first Ghostbusters. Now, of course, with this one, I mean, there's no point in wasting any time with this. Ghostbusters, the very first one, is definitely the best of the franchise. This has such a great casting choice. Bill Murray, Ernie Hudson, you've got Harold Ramis in there, you've got Dan Aykroyd. Like the four of them just work so well together. The way they introduce the characters, the opening sequence too with the whole library situation, I thought just worked so well. The pacing of the movie is just so well balanced. You get to the point very quickly. You get some great casting in Sigourney Weaver in there. You've got Louis, the way Dana and Louis turn into guard dogs, the third act with the Marshmallow Man going over New York City, you have Goza in there, and it's just everything works so well. I remember growing up, I watched this movie quite a few times, and just rewatching it before Frozen Empire came out, I remember having such a blast with this movie. So one, I could not recommend enough. Like, you get so much enjoyment out of it. Still holds up to this day. The villain is great, the Ghostbusters are great, the side characters are absolutely amazing, so you get a lot of fun. The story with this movie as well just has such a nice blend of comedy plus horror elements to it, and overall one of the best movies from 1984. So yeah, this one definitely the best of the franchise, still yet to be topped. So this is my list, this is my ranking of the Ghostbusters movies. I am going to be posting a shorts of my ranking, so you can go check that out. But yeah, it goes with number 4 is Frozen Empire, number 3 is Ghostbusters 2, number 2 Ghostbusters Afterlife, and then of course number 1 the original Ghostbusters. So you see my ranking. Again, let me know yours in the comment section down below. Do you agree with me? Do you completely disagree with me? I want to know all of that in the comment section down below. But I want to thank you all so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Again, keep an eye out because we are going to start the retrospective reviews for the Monsterverse with the tier ranking of all the Monsterverse movies next week, so keep an eye out on that. But this is RuddCarrie Reviews. Peace.